Okay. And I'll just go ahead and tell you, if you didn't know already, I didn't vote for Barack Obama for president.
Wow.
I know it's been a mystery.
Wow.
It's been a mystery. I've intentionally not tipped my hand on that.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
I didn't see that coming.
Yeah. I'm to the right of him. Okay. And so I didn't.
So was most of the country,
I
really.
didn't vote for President Obama, but he won.
Right.
Okay.
You won fair and square, as far as we can
that's
tell.
the way it goes. You know, you win some, you lose some, and some are rained out. I think Yogi Berra said. All right. So, but anyway, I am interested in the presidency. Historically, I like looking at. I don't know as much as I would like to know or should know, probably, but especially in the modern era, you know, watching the styles of and the way they govern, the way they campaign. Such going back to Nixon. That's my first president I really remember, Nixon forward. But you get to President Obama, and to me, there's been no one quite like him in terms of his style.
Right.
And I don't mean this in a complimentary way,
right.
Okay? Because I think the man is so hands-off as president as to be derelict in his duty as commander-in-chief. And I will give you a...
And let me just kind of interrupt
please.
there for just a second, because I want our listeners to know, and those looking online, that we actually had this conversation yesterday, I think.
Yes, we did.
And we were both actually complimentary of Bill Clinton for his hands-on. So this is not a Republican-Democrat thing.
It's not even an ideological divide, conservative-liberal, Republican or Democrat. This is just an observation of someone and how they handle their job.
Right.
Okay, and Jeff, I know you don't even know what I'm going to say, so I'll get to the story right now, and then you can comment. But we all know that our embassies in 21 different countries were closed over the weekend, and some remain closed for another week because of Al-Qaeda or groups like them terror threats, the Islamic jihadists. It's same old people that we've been fighting for a long time.
And they were saying the worst threat since 9/11.
Yes.
Serious
That's
threat.
why the need to shut down our embassies, okay? I mean, and so here's what happened on Saturday. The key figures, I'll just read from this article I have here in front of me. I'm trying to see where it came from.
The briefing room, I think.
The briefing room, okay. It says key figures in the Obama administration met on the current Al-Qaeda threat on Saturday. Listen to this now. Listen to this. We're shutting down embassies in 21 countries. Key Obama administration officials are meeting to discuss this and plan for this and to talk about this, while the president conducted an intensive golf fiesta at Andrews Air Force Base. The president, while his administration is meeting to discuss the Al-Qaeda threats around the world, is spending 7 hours golfing on Saturday, while Susan Video Rice heads up the meeting to talk about
National
this
Security Advisor
thing. And when I read that, Jeff, I told Ed yesterday, I don't know what to say.
I'm filled with shock and I'm filled with awe.
Yeah, I mean, on one level, it's a Jay Leno joke. On the other level, I'm going, really? If I'm one of those people, those 15 or so people that Susan Rice is meeting with on Saturday to discuss this worldwide global Al-Qaeda threat, and why we're unprecedentedly probably shutting down embassies around the world, and I'm having this meeting, and and I'm looking around going, hey, where's the chief?
Yeah.
Where's President Obama? Well, he's
it's a good job if you
golfing.
can get it, Tim.
Yeah, he's golfing for 7 hours today. Anyway, what do you think? Should I even care about something like that, or does that speak to what I was talking about earlier?
Well, the hardest thing about the presidency, Tim, is you really don't have a lot of power. There's not a lot you can actually do in a lot of situations. But that doesn't mean you just go golfing for 7 hours.
No, I'm talking about the symbolism. The symbolism.
That's exactly right.
I don't. And by the way, I don't begrudge the man for golfing, or whatever else he wants to do to relax. That's his business. I don't care. President Bush went fishing or worked or whatever you want to do to relax. Every president deserves that, even once a week. I think that's appropriate. I'm talking about at a situation in a moment like this, and you have this kind of a crisis, and you're setting an example of your leadership by basically by saying that golf is more important than my country needing me to be commander in chief on this particular day. That's what I'm saying. Go ahead.
Yeah. Well, the trap line set in that whole thing it is pretty interesting. There's one person we know completely bungled the whole Benghazi thing and lied openly and publicly about it. Susan Rice.
Yeah.
Now she's the one in charge of the meeting while the president golfs.
Yeah.
Golfing
I don't know.
While
it just
whatever Benghazi burns is that's just craziness.
Yeah, I know. It's just Ed, you got any?
No, when we talked about it yesterday, it's the symbolism that bothers me. And it's the same kind of symbolism after Katrina that Bush got hammered for. You remember? Just flying over it. And I at the time said that was a mistake. You don't fly over that. You don't act like that is not a crisis going on.
Symbolism.
The symbolism of that. I think he has admitted, since then that was probably the wrong. And I understand that presidents make those kinds of missteps as well. So, I mean, this isn't a one, issue thing and you say, well, I reject everything the man has done or not done. But this is for President Obama one of those kind of things where you don't, if this threat is as bad as or the worst since 9/11 and you're shutting down all these embassies, you don't go play golf.
I know.
This is part of the Benghazi scandal, I think, whether it's phony or not, according to the Obama administration, is it appears like the president was told that the embassy was under attack, and he said, okay, well, let me know. We'll talk about it in the morning. Good night. I'm going back to bed. And that's the kind of thing where you go, no, look, you're the president.
Right. That's what I'm saying.
If there's somebody who has to get out of bed for that kind of thing, it's got to be the president.
Bill Clinton, the Democrat, would not have done that.
Right. And we talked about that. He, whatever you think about Bill Clinton, and it's all over the map in terms of what people believe, but he at least in those kinds of areas would have managed and would have done what was appropriate for the office and for the perception of the office. Now everyone's going, yeah, what about Monica Lewinsky? Okay, setting that obvious thing aside, I'm talking about these other areas.
Yeah. Well, also President Obama, in addition to going to bed on the night that Benghazi was under siege, he also flew out to Las Vegas the morning after for a fundraiser and a pep rally.
Yeah.
And that to me was inappropriate. You don't have a fundraiser and a political pep rally when our ambassador's just been killed and we've had, you just don't do that. It's inappropriate. I mean, President Bush would not play golf. He quit playing golf, and I don't necessarily. I think that may have been it's overreaction, but that was his choice, and he said, as long as we're at war in Afghanistan and Iraq, I'm not going to play golf because it looks bad in my mind.
Right.
In his mind, it looks bad to me for parents of soldiers to look at me and saying, hey, he's out on the golf course while my kids, lives at risk. Now, I don't necessarily see it that way, but that's the way President Bush saw it. President Reagan wouldn't take off his jacket in the Oval Office, they said, out of respect for the Oval Office. And I don't know, it just seems to me, maybe this is the new normal, Jeff. We'll see it with future presidents where it's just not, it's not like it used to be with reverence for the office itself.
Well, Tim, I have to tell you, if that's really true, that would be a terrifying realization because the presidency, in many ways, it's an office. It's not a person. Barack Obama holds that office, but the office we've got to really protect and respect.
Right.
And when we're in a position where the person holding that office is essentially holding the rest of the country hostage by not taking it seriously, then all of our interests go unrepresented. All of our, all of those parents who have children in the armed forces are wondering whether or not the president is going to turn a blind eye or just go back to bed or whatever during the middle of a crisis in which their children are physically at risk. The symbolism says something.
Yeah,
It says something about the value of human beings. It says something about the value of our form of government. It says something about our position in the world and all of those things. And that all has to be taken very seriously.
We grew up, Jeff, you're in our age category, I believe. What are you, 48, 49?
Yeah, 47. So, yeah, right
47.
47.
Woo,
Sorry we overshot
well, I'm
that.
glad you're
Jeff.
not a woman. That's all I got to say. You don't overshoot a woman's age.
No, that's not.
A dude, you can get away with it. Jeff ain't going to be mad at me the rest of the day, okay?
That's right.
And he's not going to be depressed.
No, he's not going to be depressed. 'Cause,
No.
maybe he thinks I think he's more seasoned than he actually is. But we all remember. I'm 50 and Ed's a few years older, but we remember looking back. I mentioned Richard Nixon, for instance, the era of the Oval Office presentation to the country, or good. Where the networks came on, they said we go now to the White House, and then they shoot the Oval Office, and you got the camera. And at the desk is the President of the United States, and everybody is listening to what he says. Republican, Democrat didn't matter because the office of the presidency is to be respected and revered, and as an American, you honor that, and that's what we were all taught. And so I just haven't. I want to. Maybe I'm too nostalgic here. I would long for a day when we get back to that. But I just see the presidency sort of, the office is being diminished by these kinds of actions, where you have a worldwide shutdown of our embassies, and they say, where's the president? Well, he's golfing for 7 hours on Saturday. I don't know. It's just all right. Moving right along here. Let's talk about some other things, Jeff, that's concerning to Summit Ministries, and to you guys, Ed, you got some.
Jeff, I want to ask you, looking at your